We're Stephen and Grace, a Boricua from Brooklyn and a Filipina from Queens, New York.
Married over 20 years, raising 4 kids, and still choosing each other every day.
This is the Love Suite, where we get real about love, marriage, parenting, money, intimacy, and culture.
We come from New York, roots that span islands, languages, traditions, and struggle, and that's our power. Grit, first and second gen hustle, big city survival.
Our cultures taught us resilience, resourcefulness, and love that outlasts the storm.
And if you're listening, chances are your story carries that same beauty, multiple cultures, multiple legacies, and one truth. We're still here, building love that lasts. Welcome to the Love Suite.
Welcome to our second part in our gratitude series. Today, gratitude without guilt. What does that mean to you?
I don't know. For a very long time, I had guilt with my gratitude.
I think people listening may not understand fully.
Yeah. If you are a first or a second generation person living in this country or whatever country you're in, right? You have parents or whoever it is that brought you to that country, they sacrificed everything to be there.
Yeah.
They left their country, their family, their language so that you could have a better life.
Yeah, it was for a better life. They saw America as the land of opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe not only for them, but for their family, their kids, their cousins, and everybody.
That's right. I know that with my mother, she was first generation coming to the United States. And so, man, everyone depended on her back home in the Philippines. And so that's a lot of pressure. So she was always in survival mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Survival mode. Let's break that down. Just always feeling like you're just trying to get by,
Yes.
always just simply trying to survive.
Making sure you have enough.
Yeah, you are just clawing, almost like how the difference between swimming and trying not to drown.
Yeah,
So they're just in that trying not to drown mode.
exactly. And so because of that, you grow up with watching them do this. And so you have this gratitude for what they've done, for what you've had in your life. And then you feel guilt. You feel guilty about certain things. So maybe you feel guilty that you don't have to work as hard,
Yeah.
or guilty to say no to your family about anything.
Or to think, hey, this clawing and scratching and trying not to drown is all that I'm supposed to have.
Yeah.
That's my glass ceiling, so to speak.
Yes. And I know that I have challenges with that. Growing up, I saw certain things a certain way, and I have been challenged to feel that I am worthy of abundance
Yeah.
because in my mind, I'm like, just be happy with what you have. Be
It's hard.
grateful for that.
Yeah. Your parents are grateful for it. Why do I have to be? I don't want to have spam again. Why am I grateful for spam?
I know my life coach, Nicole Cruz, I love her so dearly. She's completely amazing. And one of the things that she really points out is that our parents' generation was about survival, focusing on basic needs, stability, and that sacrifice that we just talked about. They paved the way so that we, their children, their next generation, has the luxury to have more, to have choices, to have the opportunity to take a risk if you feel like taking one.
Yeah.
So we can honor our desires and we can discover and identify who we truly are, regardless of our family, but also because of our family. But she says we're not being ungrateful. We're honoring the foundation that they laid down. We're living the life that they made possible. We are not repeating their struggle, but building on their sacrifice.
All right.
And I remember when she discussed this on one of our coaching calls, and it just hit me so hard to think that I was being given permission to not repeat those struggles.
I think there's a choice to be made, and a lot of people feel that automatic being sent to, they don't have the right to need more or want more from their life. It's, you didn't go to college, so why should I? No.
Or how about because of their sacrifice that you feel like you have to go to college? You have to become a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer, whatever it is that your family expects you to do because, hey, they sacrificed for you. So if they're requesting you to do this, you feel like, I can't say no.
How many people, yeah, like you said, go become doctors or lawyers, or, and then in their late 30s, they're like, wait a minute, this is no good.
hmm
I never
This,
wanted this for me.
this is not me.
Not happy.
You're performing. You're
Right.
performing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the truth is what? That it keeps you stuck if you stay like that because you feel like you don't have the right to need more, to want more, to rest because they didn't get to rest.
Yeah. Why would you want more? Like, they've shown you you were happy as a kid. Like, this is what life is. My parents own a store and they make Chinese takeout or something, and I feel obligated to not only work in the store at a young age, but to continue to,
You use this really strong word there, obligated.
yeah, yeah. If you, what'd you say? If you use the word should, it becomes an obligation. Like,
Yes.
you should do that. You're supposed to do that. Then you feel obligated to do it. And obligation for smaller things is okay. But when we're talking about your life, obligation is a long time. If that's the, it makes you a prisoner.
Yeah, and we don't want to say obligated is a bad word, but if you're spending your life and making your decisions all based on obligation,
Yeah.
then you're held bound like a prisoner
Mm-hmm.
to your guilt.
Yeah.
And some families, they put that guilt out there purposefully. That's
Yeah.
their intention, right?
Yeah. They don't have the same perspective that you do.
You owe me. This
Yeah.
is how we do it. In Filipino culture, we have it's called utang ng loob. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but utang na loob is inside. You owe me. You owe this. And it's deep, man. Oh my God. My mother did this. I got to make sure I follow what she says. It's
Yeah.
the golden rules here. And then there's a difference of like when my mom was coming towards the end of her life and I wanted to take care of her, I didn't want anyone else to do it. I wanted to do it. Somebody could say that's the utang ng laob, but I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
It was not a should. So it can have a positive thing to it, which I want to say she's a psychiatrist or psychotherapist. I will put her information down in the comments, but she's a Filipino therapist and she has a whole program about this
Hmm.
for Filipinos because it's that strong of a value and concept in our culture. But it can really change the trajectory of your life when you choose to do it that way or when you choose to take some power back to keep some of your sanity in who you are. Now, when you were growing up, what did you see?
A lot of hard work being put in. Looking back, my grandparents, both on my dad's side and my mom's side, grew up very poor,
Mm,
but they had enough. And their kids know how much of what they felt about it, but they were able to go on their own and enhance and use their sacrifice to spring themselves forward. And I feel it's our obligation to do the same. If you want to honor their sacrifices, you do it by just not having them regret going through all that.
Yeah.
The investment is there. Our kids are getting to that grown age now. And I know for myself, I just want them to be happy and have a career that will make them happy and be able to sustain themselves and just enjoy life. We did everything we could to give them that opportunity. Those were our sacrifices.
Yes. And it's beautiful, right? Because we give them the freedom to choose. We don't make them feel guilty. But the reality is that there are cultures where they do that.
That's right.
They just do.
Pick everything from your spouse
Mm,
to where you're going to live or how you're going to do everything in your life. And it's tough. That kind of stress really can weigh on you
it
throughout
can.
life.
It can. It is enormous amount of stress and the feeling of obligation and responsibility at such a young age too. And then if you pull it out through your whole life, it's very heavy.
There's a difference between trying to leave a legacy for your kids,
Yeah.
which is an amazing gesture, but you have to also realize they don't have to. They can choose their own path. You can choose your own path.
Can you think of times when you felt guilty for wanting something different? Or where you felt guilty when you were grateful for something that you had, but you're feeling guilty because of it's different from what someone else has?
Hmm.
So I know for myself, like I said, I have a challenge. It's something that I'm working on of feeling like I deserve abundance. I come from a long line of women who work really hard. They call the shots. They're type A, take control kind of women. And I worked really hard to get to where I am. And when we built this wonderful home, I kept questioning whether I deserved it. We moved all our stuff here, and I was still sitting in this house like, do I deserve to have this house? There was an enormous amount of guilt of I would hear my mom's voice because my mom has passed away, but I could hear her voice in our old house saying to me, "This house is perfect. This house is big enough for you and the family. If I were you, I would just stay here. This is enough." She
Right.
actually said that to me. This house is enough for you. And I agreed with her. Because we bought this house, I would think to myself, my mom told me that the other house was enough. Do I have to have more than that? Just because I can.
Yeah.
I would have so many conversations with you about it. And when people would come to the house and visit, like when we have a gathering, they'd come in and be like, wow, your house is so beautiful. And I would feel shame.
Yeah.
I would feel shame and guilt for having this house do.
It's
And, ooh,
it's the mindset. Now that you mention that, I did think of something. How about my career? Not necessarily what I do in particular, but the fact that come from a blue collar family, that's life. Be a blue collar worker, work in and get your retirement, and that's your life. I didn't feel that I was entrepreneur type.
mm,
Am I allowed to be like that? I'm not supposed to take risks. The whole blue collar mentality is put your hard hat on and you go. So sometimes you don't even realize it's there, but it's there.
yeah.
And once you acknowledge it, you have that opportunity to remove that cap yourself. And now here we are stretching our arms and becoming entrepreneurs, having my own
Yeah.
podcasting. It's different and it's exciting and yeah, it's a risk. But
Yeah. But because of your parents and your grandparents and all your ancestors that came before you, they did all the things that they did so that you could be here right now in this moment.
right,
Did they know that's what would unfold? No. When we make the choices that we make today, I think about our descendants, our future descendants, but I don't want them to feel guilty for what we've done so that they can be where they are. So, how about what other things could someone feel guilty about?
how about this?
What?
How many kids feel they can't move far away from their parents?
Mm.
What if the opportunity comes up
Yeah.
where, hey, you've got a better job opportunity in a completely different city and state and maybe even country? What now?
That is so heavy. Even just forget about moving like for life or how about just going to college?
It's funny that you say that because I just thought of someone in my head who had a full ride scholarship to go to the school she wanted to.
Yeah.
And mama said, what about me?
Hmm.
And she changed all that.
She didn't take it. Wow.
No,
Wow.
she took something local so she could stay at home.
Yeah.
And yeah, these decisions are out there. They're being made every single day.
Mm.
And we're here to tell you you can be grateful without the guilt.
Yeah.
This, in the end, is your life. And there are ways to get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, there is. It's just very, it's a difficult hurdle, right?
Sure is.
You most likely feel like you are a name it, a bad wife, a bad son,
Yeah.
a bad friend, because you didn't do what you thought you should do. And so to avoid that, you just say, yes, yes, I'll do what you want me to do. Yes, I will jump through hoops to make you feel comfortable. And so it's just very difficult to navigate that. And I just remember that you knew somebody that also made choices based on what their family was wanting from them. I want to say that they didn't move away from their mother because she would be all alone. So, you
Yes.
want to tell us a little bit of
Uh,
insight that would help the listeners?
I'll just keep it real general, but it's a mom who her spouse died early on and raised her kids, but she would always mention to her kids, but who's going to take care of me? You're going to take care of me, right? You're not going to leave me, right?
Mm.
No matter what dream they had, it would always end with her going, but you're not going to leave me, right?
And it comes from a fear because her spouse passed away early. I'm sure she was expecting to spend her whole life with him. So there's this fear.
And it's sad, but it did affect them tremendously. And they're adults now, and yeah, they didn't move very far at all. We need to pause here and let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt guilty for needing more, for wanting something different than what your family expected?
Yeah, and drop it in the comments. And if it's too heavy to share publicly, just DM us.
Yeah, because you're not alone in this. We want to hear from you and we want to feel what you felt.
Yeah, and if you're having challenges with that, we can talk about it.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, real gratitude. What does that look like? Not the performance, not the guilt, the real thing. What is it like?
When does looking grateful for something or saying, thank you so much for this, when is that not enough? Because it can be.
And being grateful for something that someone gave you, you can do that and build something new at the same time.
Yeah.
So if you make different choices for yourself, doesn't mean or equate that you are not grateful.
Yeah. You can be grateful and build something your own from that.
You can honor where you came from and not stay stuck there. So communication has to happen.
Yeah.
One day you might say to yourself, that's so true. I can honor what was sacrificed for me with holding boundaries. You don't have to
Yeah.
spend your whole life paying
Yeah.
for it. I've heard people say, they're like, I gave birth to you.
Yeah.
And then I've heard people say, I didn't ask to be here. You're just, dang. Now that's somebody who's definitely not feeling guilty about anything.
Yeah. They're feeling defensive times 10.
But it's because they're standing up for themselves. So that's a version of having that conversation.
You can say, hey, I see what you sacrificed. I know I'm where I am because of that. I have the power to choose, whereas you might not have.
Right.
I have the ability to want more.
And that's a gift that they gave you, even though they may not realize that's a gift that they gave you. So you have to be the one to say, yes, this is how I'm going to step forward. And you are allowed to do that. And that's the whole point of this conversation, of this episode, is to say to you, you have permission to do that. You are allowed to feel obligated at times. You have good intentions and it's going to make you feel good to do that, then do it.
Yeah.
Now, we keep talking about our parents and our family, right? But how about when you're in a relationship?
Mm. Or a relationship where one person is a-okay with that obligation and stuff like that.
Mm.
You're now not. Your husband says, hey, I'm going to take over my parents' store and you're now my wife, so I'm going to need your help to work here. And what's your obligation there? It's
So,
definitely a conversation.
yes, sometimes spouses don't want to fight. They feel like they gotta support, they gotta do it. We know some couples like that.
Yeah. In the end, it's your life still. You are
Right.
sharing it with someone, but it is still your life.
And if you just go by obligation, I have seen it unfold where now you're going to have some rocky roads and maybe some arguments and fights because you didn't even really want to go along with it to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's a communication.
Yeah. You have
Mhm.
to be able to feel comfortable in your own skin to communicate the way that the situation needs. My husband needs me to work in this store and my dreams and career to for a lifetime of something I didn't really want. I want him, but not this.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy.
No.
That's pretty heavy. Let's talk about gratitude practices that feel real and not performative between a couple, two people in a relationship.
Like what?
So there there are some things that you do. So an example would be when you're at work and you are very busy, obviously, saving lives, running calls, getting to where someone has called 911 and they need help and assistance. Somewhere in there, in that hectic day, you find time to just text me and say, I'm missing you so much, mama.
Yeah. And I've had to make a mental note that when I do think of you, to try to let you know that you are thought of and you are missed, and may not be that exact moment. And sometimes I do still forget in the heat of everything, but I've made a definite note to try to remind myself for that. Now,
Oh, so I know when you do that, that you're not doing that out of obligation.
no,
You're doing that purely because that's how you feel.
yeah,
And
I want you to know how I feel. So
yeah.
I do
And,
that.
and so I feel so much gratitude towards that because you're not performing for me.
No,
Is there anything that I do for you?
oh, you take care
Right.
of me. You understand my needs sometimes and just really just take it upon yourself to do it.
Like what? I have no idea what you're
Just this
doing.
morning, I had to drop our little one off for a school trip so early in the morning. Came back, and I was like, oh, there's not enough time to go back to sleep. So I was just going to be up. And you said, no, you relax. I'm going to make you breakfast. And I was like, oh, thank God. I'm hungry. And it was nice to just relax for 20 minutes and let you cook me up one of your yummy meals. And
Yeah.
you do things like that often, and I love it.
Oh. And I don't do, sometimes I do certain things, obviously, out of obligation. You are my partner in life, but I do that like this morning because I want to. It's a way for me to show you how grateful I am for you.
I
So,
love it.
yeah.
Happy husband, happy life. Is that how it goes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're a little off.
If you grew up in an immigrant family, the weight of guilt, they sacrificed everything, so how dare I complain kind of voice.
Here's what we want you to try this week. Say one thing you need out loud to yourself, to your partner, to someone safe.
Yeah, not a complaint.
Yeah.
It's a need.
Right. Something like, I need rest,
Mm.
or I need space. I need not to host Thanksgiving this year.
Whatever it is, just say it.
Yeah, because you can be grateful for what your parents gave you and need something different for yourself. Both can be true.
Yeah, try it and see what happens.
Yeah. And if this episode hit different, send it to someone who needs to hear it. The friend who's always performing strength. The sister who's always saying, I'm fine.
Share it, tag it. Let's keep this conversation going.
Yes. So that's gratitude without guilt. But here's a question. How do you actually practice this when life is grinding you down?
When you're juggling work, family, bills, kids, when you're code switching all day, every day, how do you stay grateful without faking it?
That's what we're talking about next week. Gratitude in the grind and how the 30-day challenge helps you reset.
That's right. Catch you in the next episode.